Hello, welcome to Trend Settings. My head hurts.
Hello.
How are you guys?
So good. My head doesn't hurt.
Yeah, my head's fine.
So
Yeah.
good. I'm just gonna start.
It hurts now.
Is it the headphones?
Yeah.
Is that
No,
why your
it's
head
not
hurts?
the headphones. That actually gives me clarity. This
Right.
water gives me clarity.
Hmm.
My life gives me clarity. My
Hmm.
brain doesn't give me clarity right now. I'm a little bit under the weather.
I'm Chris.
You're liking the word clarity, aren't you?
Yeah. So this is episode 83, I think.
Wow.
We're live on Facebook. We're talking about The Simpsons first, and we're talking about entertainment, and then we're talking about Facebook at Congress, and then we're talking about a guy pulling a car with his doodle, and then we're talking about something to do with technology. I'm not quite sure yet. It's got something to do with traffic, though.
Traffic.
That's crazy, though.
technology.
But first
Wild.
up, my name is Ali.
My name is still Chris.
I'm Dip.
I'm Jono.
Welcome to Trend Settings, where we talk about what's trending every single week, live on Facebook, Thursday night, 8 p.m.
Boom.
Good.
First up, Chris. What's up? What's happening?
So, have you heard of a little show called The Simpsons?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's a pretty big show. It's been around for 29 seasons. Is
Yeah.
that one season a year?
I'm not sure. I think the first season, maybe not.
Maybe not. So anyway, it's been around for a long time. So
It's about 30 years now.
we're talking about The Simpsons, but we're talking about it in relation to a documentary that came out last year titled The Problem with Apu. Apu is one of the characters on The Simpsons, if you are unfamiliar.
Apu Nahasapino Petalon.
Sure, if you say so. So the documentary The Problem with Apu is made by Hari Kondabolu,
Kondabalu. Who is a comedian.
who is a comedian, writer, actor, person. And the film, it explores, so it's a problem with Apu, the problem with Indian and South Asian representation in media.
Yep.
And it's exploring encounters that him and other entertainers have had in the industry with negative stereotypes, microaggression, slurs against people of that descent. So that came out last year. But this week we had The Simpsons, season 29, episode 15, and the episode this week, I don't really know how the Simpsons episodes come out, but they responded to the documentary,
Yeah.
to the criticism of their creations.
Yeah, of Apu.
So
I'm just checking something. Keep going.
no, alright, I shall. So this guy, he made a background on the documentary. He made the documentary because when he was a kid, he used to watch The Simpsons, and he would see Apu, and he'd be like,
So
oh,
he's an American. Living in America.
He's an American,
Yeah.
and
Indian descent.
yes, and he would see Apu on TV, and he'd be like, oh, how funny is Apu? Like,
Yeah.
he's awesome, and he's familiar. Like, he looks like me, he talks like me. But then he grew up, and he realized that Apu was really a stereotype and a pretty, I guess it's a racist.
It's a white guy playing it too, right?
It is. Hank Azaria. He
Hank
plays
Azaria.
half of the.
Yeah,
he
he
plays
plays
half the
everyone,
cast.
right?
So
Yeah.
Odds are he's playing him.
one of his points was like, oh, it's a white guy playing his voice, but that criticism not really fair, I think, because what are they going to get because there's multiple stereotypes in the cast, right? So they're going to get every race depicted in their cast to play that.
Yeah.
I think Hank Azaria is a voice actor, and that's what he does.
So, and that is one of the criticisms. Like watching Apu, watching this representation of an Indian person, it's watching like his dad do an imitation of a white person imitating an Indian person.
Yeah.
It's
And he owns a convenience store.
yeah.
So it's a racial stereotype, right?
It is a racial stereotype. Is that racist though?
Well, it's funny because The Simpsons is full of stereotypes. Homer he's a stereotype. He's a dumb, middle class, middle aged American. So like, I look. Obviously, I'm white. Us three.
Sure are.
Thanks for clearing
And,
that up.
so
He's South Asian.
he is
Hey,
Sri Lankan
Southie.
background. So he may have some kind of perspective on this.
Some insights.
So for me, I don't know, the blowback, it's a bit hard to critique one kind of stereotype, although he's coming from his perspective and that's the way he felt and that can't be changed. You know, at first the representation he felt he was happy about, but then he realised it became a problem because people would make fun of him, would mock him, would put on the accent, would say, "Thank you, come again." Do you know what I mean? Like I just did. So and like that's that's valid, right? If and it's more of a reflection of society than I think it is of the show.
Yeah, and as he grew up,
the
Apu stayed exactly the same. The representation was exactly the same.
Well, my point would be to that. I think there's a bit more to Apu than that. I think he's a bit more nuanced than what he's trying to say. Yes, he's a convenience store owner. Yes, he has an accent that is over the top and stereotyped, but he is also one of the most intelligent people in the Simpsons. Very kind-hearted. Has a family and loves them, and I think it's a little bit more than just what you see on face value.
Yeah, got a bit of a soft spot for Apu.
Oh, he's a good character, and
there is a good one about him having trouble with his wife.
Yeah, Minjula. Yeah. When the Valentine's Day one where he does this huge acts of love for him. Yeah, but like there's the show's progressed right in the earlier seasons where he was just a background character where they created the Simpsons universe, and when their episodes were about Apu, and you'd realise his backstory. That he is a bit more than just what you see at the convenience store when Sideshow Bob's getting his framing Krusty, right?
Yep. So the Simpsons' response was, the episode is called No Good Read Goes Unpunished. So finally they've responded. So their response is based around Marge reading a book to Lisa, right? And it's a book I haven't seen.
Can we go on this before we...
Yep.
Can I ask Jono?
Sure.
What's your take on it? Obviously, you watch The Simpsons.
It's not equivalent to say that everyone's a stereotype, so it's okay for Apu to be a stereotype. Because you'll notice Dr. Hibbert is purposefully not a stereotype of a black guy. So I don't know what that kind of the racial Olympics is there, where we can't be mean to black people,
but we can be.
But it's an Indian person, so it doesn't matter.
I was just thinking the opposite, in that. Well, I don't know if that's the opposite, but I feel like they do make fun of all the races pretty hard. Yeah. Like they definitely represent Asian people. Like
he's a doctor.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a black person, but I couldn't. But
Groundskeeper Willie, for one, Scottish people, Asian people are
they
very
really make fun of Asian people.
But like
Carl is cool.
I think the big
and competent at his job.
True.
Is he?
I think the big
Cletus
the slack-jawed yokel.
The reason you can't say they're equivalent is because it exists in a whole media landscape, right?
Yeah,
he grew up in America where you can't say, Homer's a white guy who's a stereotype, so it's fine. But like every other white guy you see on the TV is not that, right? So he's not the only person you see on TV who's white.
Yeah.
Whereas when the only person you see on TV who's brown is Apu, that's basically, like, I got that when I was growing up. That's like, that's what all people take you as, because that's all they see.
Yeah.
They see plenty of other white people, so they don't think of all white people as Homers.
Yeah.
But they see one Indian person, so they think of all Indian people as Apu.
So really, it's more, and maybe it's the media's reporting of it, it's more a commentary on the media landscape in itself, as opposed to The Simpsons, although he's framed it in that way because it's catchy, right? But I think nowadays you see there's also more actors from the Southeast Asia, the subcontinent, right, in that play roles that aren't the guy who played Kumar in Harold and Kumar, right? Like
Cal Penn. He's in the documentary. And
so he played a racist stereotype in some of these old shows that he hated to do.
And Camille Nanjiani was an alien in Mass Effect.
Yeah. And The Night Of, which was a great show, had I forget his name, but obviously there's a large representation now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely larger. I can see why he had an issue with it.
Yeah.
But I think when you're first watching it, like when I was a kid, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
It was fine. So I don't know if it's different here.
So that kind of ties into what The Simpsons is saying. So Marge is reading this book from when she was a kid to Lisa, and she's reading it and she realizes it's pretty racist. So on one page it's got the princess and she's served by all people of color.
Yeah. And
then Marge is like, "Ooh, that's a bit weird. Let's skip forward." And then there's like some dirty Irish stereotype. But then the character in the book is like, "Oh, this is what you think is acceptable?" And then Marge she changes the story to something it's all just really nice that Lisa can relate to. And then Lisa's like, "No, it's unbelievable. I don't like this story." And then Marge says, well, what can I do? And then Lisa turns to the camera.
Breaks the fourth wall, right?
And says, something that started decades ago and was applauded and inoffensive is now politically incorrect. What can you do? Some things we will deal with at a later date, if at all.
And it pans and has a picture of a poo next to them saying, don't have a cow, man, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was just... I think The Simpsons just shouldn't have addressed it. Should have just left it.
I kind of like that they've taken a stance on it at least.
Yeah.
And not just overcorrected and apologised for it.
Yeah, there's no need for them to do that. For me, I think we should have just left it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
People are going to have opinions that aren't happy with things. Just
people are also... What do you think about the fact that...
It's funny that you guys are all white guys thinking, this isn't a problem. Why is this a problem for
I know,
anyone?
I'm saying that The Simpsons didn't
This
need
doesn't have any impact on me whatsoever, so
Yeah.
I don't think they should change anything at all.
I just don't think The Simpsons needed
Kind
to
of
address...
classic white person thing to do.
So what do you think they should do?
I don't know. I just don't like... I think he wanted to start an actual conversation, and that was kind of like a... We don't know, so we're just not going to do anything kind of response.
Yeah.
It was a nothing response.
It was.
Well,
So it was like pointless.
So why address it like that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say, but I would say you still, I don't know, think of something. They have like that's the thing. Like you guys are saying, he isn't what he started off as. I have no idea what Apu's like now because I haven't watched like the last 10 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
So obviously he's evolved over time, and I don't know enough about it to like comment on it now.
Yeah.
I'm not a Simpsons expert as well, but I would question if, like, is it really development of Apu, or are they just taking him and using him for story because he's one of the characters in that world and they need to make a story for an episode?
Oh, I think it's definitely that because they were running out of ideas after like
they're not saying
got
okay.
stories. They got stories for years,
in
man.
12 seasons they were running out of ideas, so they had to do stuff like, let's develop Apu's character.
People are also upset because it's Lisa who's saying that, who's typically the more liberal, left-leaning member of the family, who has more compassion.
I don't know if it's the fact that she's left-leaning as more the fact that she's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
So it's like we're making her say it because we think we're right.
Yeah. So on another note, this other guy who is also trending at the moment, this guy Amar Shah, there's a massive long Twitter feed where he was talking about it. So the thing's titled "I Am the Son of Apu." So his story is: everyone has an opinion about Apu, but did they ever talk to someone who owned a convenience store or a gas station or working growing up in one? For some of us, we live this life. It's our story. It's my story. So yeah, I agree with some of your points, but this is so much more than a stereotype. For some of us, we lived this life. It was our story. It's my story. So he's
saying he was represented.
Yeah, he was represented like...
It was a real story.
I am... Yeah, so his parents worked in a convenience store.
Because the bad thing about a stereotype is it says everyone who's this colour or whatever
does this.
Is this.
Yeah.
Which usually isn't a real thing anyway, right? Like, not all old Asian men are martial arts masters.
Yeah. But
no matter what movies say.
Everyone makes stereotypes in their heads. That's the way you think.
It seems like with filmmaking...
and it's about how you act upon it.
They get reinforced.
The way your brain thinks is you compartmentalize things. And it's not like racial stereotypes, but it's just...
Yeah, but like media can either just go along with what people's stereotypes already are, or it can play a part in actually helping to shape them in a different way.
Yeah. I think it's these days, it seems like the only people who can use racial stereotypes are the people who are in the race. And when it's someone else from a different race using someone else's racial stereotype, suddenly it's not okay. That seems to be the feeling at the moment.
I don't think it's a rule like that. Like, that even made Dave Chappelle uncomfortable. That's part of the reason why he stopped doing the show, was that he realized that his use of racial stereotypes about black people was making it okay for white people to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, it comes down to whether the stereotype is helpful or harmful to people. If we're going to be like people who don't want to be jerks to each other and like have a society, you should care whether it affects people negatively or positively.
So could Apu not buy 3 more convenience stores, retire, or get a new job in a...
Well, there's stuff like that has happened that he does own the convenience store. He's a small business owner. So they have developed his character more than just, a store clerk.
Because I guess that's what this guy's saying. There's nothing wrong with being working at a gas station.
It's true.
So.
that's kind
I
of.
think I stopped watching The Simpsons when stuff started happening.
Yeah, I haven't
Like
watched
the idea of The
in a long
Simpsons
time.
is that like for the first 12 seasons it was just the same town, exactly the same situation. The kids never got older. Like nothing ever changed, right? And then they started running out of ideas, so stuff had to start happening. But
you're cut.
Yeah.
You're cut too.
Have the kids,
I like your hustle.
Have the
It's so
kids
hard to
gotten
cut
older,
you.
or are they still the same?
No, they're still the same.
still the same.
Wow.
But like Apu's married now and has babies, so I'm not sure how time works over there.
Yeah,
He has 8
Flanders'
babies.
wife
Well,
is still dead.
the stereotype was he had so many babies. Don't you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, he had
He's
like
like
8
juggling
tablets.
them.
Yes.
Is that a
That's
stereotype?
that's less. That was like octuplets.
Yeah.
That's more of like a stereotypical white person thing to do with it.
Rabbits.
Jerry Springer style.
Jerry Springer, like Cletus should have had. Well, he had heaps of kids. Remember, he's like
Yeah.
Billy, Bobby. He calls them all that.
Yeah, so I don't know. Let us know if you think Apu is racist or not.
Yeah, I feel like someone from the southern United States could make a pretty good argument if they were living like up in the north, right? Where they're the only person in their town who has that accent, and the only person on TV who has that accent is Cletus. It would be like a pretty similar situation. Like everyone's gonna assume you're dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or something like that, right? Like that's a stereotype. It's like a negative thing on someone's life.
Mm.
But then again, Simpsons is very funny.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's very funny. There's so many times Apu made me laugh. You know when Skinner goes and tells him his idea for his book,
Yeah. What is Billy and the
and then
Connoisseur?
he does that really long speech. Just
That's just the
destroying
dumbest
him.
idea I've ever heard.
He was really smart as well. Like he has
Yeah.
he is actually like a stereotype I've definitely seen. Like I've seen a guy working in the airport who's a Sikh guy. Had the thing he's doing security. He had a master's in some kind of engineering.
Yeah.
But he's got a security job. Like Apu's got a master's in computer science.
Hmm.
Remember where he has the punch cards and then
Welcome to the Simpsons podcast.
yeah.
Welcome.
Anyway.
What else happened?
I think we've been going on.
We're done.